Once upon a time, in a small village nestled among rolling hills, there lived a poor shoemaker and his kind-hearted wife. The shoemaker was skilled at his craft, but despite his best efforts, he had fallen on hard times. His workbench was almost bare, with only a single piece of leather left, enough to make just one pair of shoes. As night fell, the shoemaker sighed deeply, knowing that he had only enough material for one more pair of shoes. He carefully cut the leather, laid it out on his workbench, and decided to finish the shoes in the morning. Exhausted, he and his wife went to bed, praying that fortune might smile upon them. The next morning, the shoemaker was amazed to find a perfectly made pair of shoes on his workbench. The shoes were beautifully crafted, with fine stitching and flawless design. The shoemaker could hardly believe his eyes. He showed the shoes to his wife, who was equally astonished. Who could have made these, she wondered aloud, and how? The shoemaker had no answer, but he took the shoes to the market, where they were quickly purchased for a high price. With the money, he was able to buy enough leather to make 2 more pairs of shoes. That evening, the shoemaker cut the leather for the 2 new pairs of shoes and left them on the workbench. He went to bed with a heart full of hope, wondering if the mysterious helper would return. Sure enough, when he awoke the next morning, the shoes were completed, each pair more beautiful than the last. Again, the shoemaker sold the shoes for a good price and bought even more leather. This cycle continued for several nights, with the shoemaker finding new shoes on his workbench each morning. The shoemaker and his wife became more and more prosperous, able to live comfortably and help those in need. One night, the shoemaker and his wife decided to stay awake and discover who their mysterious benefactors were. They hid behind a curtain in the workshop, waiting silently as the clock ticked past midnight. To their amazement, 2 tiny elves appeared, dressed in ragged clothes. The elves jumped onto the workbench and began working with incredible speed and skill. Their tiny hands moved like lightning, stitching and shaping the leather into the finest shoes the shoemaker had ever seen. The shoemaker and his wife watched in awe, hardly daring to breathe. When the elves had finished their work, they quietly slipped away into the night, leaving behind the most exquisite shoes imaginable. The next day, the shoemaker's wife said, "We must do something to thank these little creatures. They have helped us so much, and they have nothing to wear. Let's make them some new clothes." The shoemaker agreed, and together they worked to create tiny outfits for the elves, soft leather shoes, warm coats, and little hats. That night, instead of cutting leather, they laid out the new clothes on the workbench. Once again, they hid behind the curtain and waited. When the elves arrived and saw the clothes, they were overjoyed. They put them on, dancing around the room in delight. The little creatures were so pleased with their gifts that they sang and laughed, and with a final joyful leap, they disappeared into the night. From that night on, the elves never returned, but the shoemaker and his wife continued to prosper. The shoes they made were always of the highest quality, and customers came from far and wide to buy them. The shoemaker and his wife lived a long, happy life, always remembering the little elves who had brought them such good fortune. And so, the tale of the elves and the shoemaker reminds us that kindness and gratitude are always rewarded, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. The shoemaker and his wife had given the elves the gift of warmth and comfort, and in return, they received a lifetime of prosperity and happiness.